Let's look a little deeper at the regression line now. So when we're finding the regression line, you'll see it in several different ways. Some textbooks write the y-intercept first, then the slope and your explanatory variable. Or you may see it like we've seen it with ax plus b. Either way, what this is doing is it's a lot of times you'll see it with a y with a little hat on it, a little y hat. This is because it's not really going to give us the true value of y. It's only going to predict a value of y. Now we've already done this with our first example. So it says all the instructions we did before with turn your stat diagnostics on. Make sure you have your x values in L1, your y values in L2. Go to the linear regression. You can actually save the equation in y1 if you wanted to. And you can actually, if you did that, you could see it on your scatter plot and see how close it fits. But we'd already done that before in the last lesson. And we got this value for A and this value for B. So I really want to just get into what that means. So remember, this was the club head speed of a golf club and the distance it travels. Now let's think about what slope and y-intercepts mean. So slope is your rise of your run, your change in y, change in x. So if you have a slope of 2/3, that means for every increase, if x increases by 3, then y increases by 2. If you have a slope of a line of -4, that means if x increases by 1, y decreases by 4. Y-intercept means that when x is 0, that's the y value. So here was the regression line. I'm going to write it a little differently than what the textbook has. So ours would have been y hat equals, if we write it like it said ax, it would have been 3.1661x plus our b was negative 55.79661. Okay, so the slope is the coefficient of x. So what does this mean? Well, this means that for each increase of x, well, what was x? X was that golf club, right? So for each if the club head, I'm going to write it this way, for each increase by 1 mile per hour, I can't spell, per hour of club head speed, the y variable, the distance the ball travels is it increasing or decreasing? Increases by 3.1661 yards. Now, what would the y-intercept mean? So the y-intercept is always when x is 0. So this means when the club head speed is 0 miles per hour. The distance the ball travels is negative 55.7966 yards. Does that make sense? No, in this instance, the y-intercept is not reasonable. First off, you're not going to have a golf club that has a speed of 0. That's never going to happen. So that makes no sense. Having a negative y-intercept makes no sense. So sometimes your y-intercept will not make sense in the situation. So I want to make sure we note that.